Jai Sri Ram, welcome everybody. Welcome to Bharat Marg. Today we are going to discuss with Dr. Adithyanjee, geopolitical expert, okay, regarding America fight China or surrender. Let's discuss with Dr. Adithyanjee. Thank you for joining us, friends. You know what? Thank you to you for seeing the video and appreciate Dr. Adithyanjee coming and discussing with us. Very important topic, Adithyanjee. Weak leadership. See, please don't mistake my word. Okay, I just want to say I am a village boy. English is not my first language, so if anything, here is a U.S. president who sometimes forgets to put the diaper on. Okay, and you have Justin Trudeau on Canada, who doesn't know what to say, what not to say, drama teacher, ex-drama teacher, and you have Rishi Sunak in UK, who never won an election, never can win an election, never will win an election. This is the leadership of West for you. Okay, and they want to control and teach a lesson to China and other the aspiring leadership. We love to learn from you. Can they do it? Okay, but before going further, friends, please make sure to like the video, comment on the video, share the video with as many people as you can, because with your support only we can reach out to the people, friends, and we need your help. Also, if you never subscribed the channel yet, please go ahead and subscribe our channel Bharat Marg and press the notification bell to stay connected, so that whenever we go live, you can come and join us. And we also send out one dharmic message every day regarding Sanatan Dharma. Please do subscribe for it. You can now subscribe by sending a WhatsApp to +1 6479 644790 and have your family and yourself get connected to the roots of Sanatan Dharma. Dr. Adithyanjee, welcome.
Thank you very much, Sundarji, for inviting me again on your platform, Bharat Marg. And I'm pleased
it's our honor. It's our honor. Appreciate it. Appreciate you joining. Dr. Saab, ye bataiye, will America fight China or surrender? Do they have what it takes?
So, one thing is for sure that America is declining.
Mm-hmm.
And it is also very certain that some of the Western countries' leadership is inept, if not inadequate. I'll keep both Biden and Justin Trudeau on one side. I would not share the same thing about Rishi Sunak. Rishi Sunak did actually win his MP constituency election. And so far, compared to Liz Truss, the blue-eyed.
But you will understand that, sir. That you will appreciate that winning a MP election is not equivalent to winning a prime minister election.
Yeah, I am going to that. Compare that to Liz Truss' tenure, who was in a similar situation, lasted only 43 days and tanked the UK economy. So when you have that as a comparison, Rishi Sunak is doing much, much better. And the elections will be due, I think, in 2026 in UK. So we have to give him some grace time to prove himself. He's a young guy, very well educated, is handling the economy very well, and I wish him well. So he is not in the same category of nincompoops like Justin Trudeau, or for that matter, Joe Biden, who is clearly very senile and should gracefully get out of the situation by letting younger people take over and contest the next election. Yes, he has his senior moments from time to time. He forgets things. So yes, the leadership of America is declining. China was on ascendancy only to a certain point. And yes, China is the rising hegemon. And we have in international relations this something called Thucydides trap. Thucydides trap is from ancient Greek, the fight between Sparta and other country. And it basically states in international relations that whenever there is a rising hegemon trying to challenge the reigning superpower, most of the time in Western history, it has led to a war. So China's task is to manage the situation without having a war with United States. And China does believe in Sun Tzu's philosophy of, winning the war without fighting any battle. And they are very good at that. Issue is that whether the current dictator of China, Xi Jinping, has the finesse to not provoke a war. From what it appears that he's learning from Putin's mistakes in Ukraine and is going to delay use of force, at least in Taiwan. There are there are three flashpoints on which United States and China could go on war. One of them is Taiwan. Second is China's role in South China Sea, where it is, demanding that all the hydrocarbon exploration, everything in South China Sea, it controls. It even claims the islands as well as the exclusive economic zones of other Southeast Asian countries, that is guaranteed by the UNCLOS, United Nations Convention and Laws of Seas. The third flashpoint would be, which is slightly separate, is China's role vis-a-vis Philippines, China's coercive actions on Philippines. So I think Philippines is more close to actual possible hot conflict. Xi Jinping is delaying action on Taiwan, and in South China Sea, United States and Western allies are having freedom of naval operations, movements. And China sometimes tries to harass them, tails them, etc., etc. That may not lead to a hot war. There's a possibility that with Philippines, United States has a treaty relationship and they have restarted their bases there. And the way China is acting, so it will depend upon only one person, and that is Xi Jinping. If he indulges in brinkmanship. Now, we've said that, United States is declining. Not only it is declining, and you are seeing in the caliber of the leaders, successive leaders, you had the last leader, character flaw, may have been tough on China, but, he had his own character flaws and inadequacies. Prior to that, you had Barack Hussein Obama, who was just catering to the Islamic lobby. So there is decline in quality of
And
leadership.
before that, Saddam Hussein nuclear bomb,
Yeah. So
Mr. Bush.
George Bush, how many mistakes they have done. But there's also something going on, that the United States government is highly dysfunctional. And in this dysfunctional system, you have White House, you have State Department, and there's a third entity called Pentagon. And what appears is that at this point in time, there's no unanimity in these three departments. As far as China is concerned, they seem to be managing well. But as far as relationship with India is concerned, State Department has that old Cold War mentality that India is a hostile nation.
Colonial country. White man syndrome.
Yes. Whereas White House, whether it is Democrat controlled or Republican controlled, we have seen since year 2000, since Bill Clinton left, whether it was George W. Bush, whether it was Obama, whether it was Trump, and now Biden, White House has been more pragmatic. So has been Pentagon. And this 2+2 format that has been devised is working fairly well. But elements in the State Department, which controls, sometimes this USCIRF, the International Ambassador at Large for Religious Freedom, they keep on needling India. So they have their old Cold War mentality. And that is where you see the dysfunctionality, that your larger aim is to contain China. White House and Pentagon want to have a partnership with India because they know that in Indo-Pacific they cannot survive without support from India. But State Department keeps needling. So it's a
Absolutely.
very serious.
That's a. It's not only declining power wise. My question is, are they declining morally also? Okay, as if they had before. But let me say why I said this, so that you can. I would like to have your opinion on it. See, in today's headline, if you see Israel, they say Israel. Netanyahu has said, the approach to Hamas terrorists is find, target, kill. Okay, and that is being published in the American this thing. But the terrorists who target the brown skin, oh, they are our citizen. You cannot do that in our land. How do you see it?
So you mentioned moral decline. I'll handle that first. Okay.
Mhm.
Yes, there is a moral decline in US leadership, and that has gone since Bill Clinton became president. I don't want to go into the stories of Bill Clinton, everyone knows. Then comes George W. Bush. Now, George W. Bush, only quality was that he was a dynast. So, in a Western democracy superpower, you have a dynast hoisted upon the White House by a Republican machine, the Bush house of the Bush. Clearly, George W. Bush did not have the wherewithal at that point in time. He was a person who would call Greeks as Grecians, his understanding of international relations was abysmal. The only person who was coaching international relations was Condoleezza Rice. And
And
of course,
only channel he watched was Fox News.
and he was in the first term heavily controlled by Dick Cheney, who had his own agenda. So, what they did, they attacked Iraq based on very false information, false intelligence, in fact, contrived or manufactured intelligence which had no reality basis. That was a moral failure. That was moral failure of leadership. Saddam Hussein may have been a monster, but you killed 1 million Iraqi children by sanctions on very flimsy intelligence which could not be corroborated. Then let's come to Barack Hussein Obama. The first thing he did after becoming president was that he went to Al Azhar University in Cairo and basically cowed down to Islamic terrorists. There's a very famous picture of Barack Hussein Obama bowing to the Saudi king. Barack Hussein Obama also had moral weaknesses. This person, and I don't believe in conspiracy theories, which were about the birther controversy, that he was not a US citizen, he was not born in United States. But Barack Hussein Obama spent $900,000 to keep his college transcripts private. And the White House attorney who handled that case was elevated to the United States Supreme Court as a reward. Why did he want to hide his college transcripts? Because in Columbia records, he was registered as a foreign student by name Barry Sotiro. And that last name was of his stepdad from Indonesia. And he did not want it to be. So there is a definite moral failure there, that the president wants to hide his transcripts, educational transcripts, and goes to the extent of spending $900,000. Now you have Donald Trump coming in. Donald Trump's business dealings and the corruption involved, we are seeing now. He is facing 91 indictments. Whatever his stance with China or good relations
But
with
the
India,
more he is getting punished, more the American people love him.
well, that is yet to be seen. But again, on that thread of moral failure, that is persisting. And moral failure also involves when your personal ego takes precedence over national interests. Do you think that an 81-year-old person having frequent memory lapses, having accidents, having falls, is ready to serve second term as the president of United States? If there was a common sense, if there was moral understanding of one's own frailty, Joseph Biden would have said, okay, I'm too old, I became president, now I want to give a younger person.
50% of America thinks he didn't even came to White House straight in the first term.
Yeah. The bottom line is that, again, we don't want to go into conspiracy theories, but the post Second World War leadership of United States was strong. Compared to that, in last 20-25 years, we have seen weak presidents who came with a lot of baggage, and that's why they blundered in geopolitics and international arena and created mistakes. Obama was on record to say that we kind of supported ISIS because we thought that they will harass the Syrian president Bashar al-Assad. So you created a monster. United States created a monster called ISIS. That was a moral failure. And now, of course, it is very fashionable to defend Hamas in US college campuses because the whole environment does not see what is right, what is wrong. Just because of anti-Semitism, that you hate Jews or you don't like Jews, you just want to side with an entity that wants to wipe the state of Israel. Is that not moral failure? That you are justifying rape of women, kidnapping, abduction of...
But I'll take your word anti-Semitism on this. But let me say you, there is a terrorist who is sitting in US, okay, and he is saying, I will take away the Air India flight, and to question him or target him is targeting against freedom of speech. How come two terrorists have two different kind of treatment from US government?
So this is imperialistic arrogance, and this is not the first time it has happened. Again, United States is very fond of invoking the doctrine of American exceptionalism, which basically means that we are above the international law. Whatever we do is the international law.
Wow. You have a nice way to put it, Dr. Adithyanjee. For me, I say it is a white supremacism.
If 2611, the characters and the perpetrators that were involved in 2611, one of them was a US citizen, David Headley, aka Dawood Gilani, who was a half Pakistani US citizen, who changed his name to David Headley to avoid suspicion, and United States refused to extradite him to India, and he is still sitting in US prison, but India cannot prosecute him. So they are supporting terrorists. There was a Canadian citizen running a business in Chicago who was an associate of David Headley, and his name was Tahabur Rana, who the lower court has agreed to extradite to India, but he is using all the legal loopholes. 2611 happened so many years ago. These people have not been brought to justice. Even US citizens died in 2611. The people who planned 2611s have not been brought to justice, and United States is culpable in that. So it is nothing new. They have double standards. When we get affected by terrorism, it's a very serious issue. Okay. When in 1980s, India complained about Khalistani terrorism, or later on about, Islamic terrorism in Kashmir, these people from West said it's only a law and order situation. In 1981, Pierre Trudeau refused to extradite, a terrorist. I think his name was Parmar, Talvinder Singh Parmar. And the reason given was that, India's head of state is not British Queen, so we cannot extradite to India.
Mhm.
So you were encouraging terrorists, Canadian citizen terrorists. And then what happened? Air India flight 182 was down. Kanishka airplane was downed in Atlantic Sea because of bomb blast. 329 innocent passengers were killed. Out of that, I think 289 were Canadian citizens. So you have been promoting terrorists based in your country. They are your citizens. They are Canadian citizens or US citizens in both these cases. You don't want to extradite them, and you don't want to prosecute them domestically. Why not prosecute domestically? Air India Kanishka bombing. How many people were convicted? One person was convicted. There was a second blast at Narita Airport in Japan. People who planned were involved in Kanishka's downing. They were let scot-free. And the person who was arrested and convicted was released prematurely. It was a shame on Royal Canadian Mounted Police that the case dragged on. There was botched investigation, the judiciary has said. So this has been going on for a while. It is part of their colonial arrogance. Anything that happens against India is justified on grounds of freedom of speech.
Absolutely. But coming back to our subject, my question is, now they want to take on China, but rubbing on the wrong side of India. Do you think India is going to cooperate with them, or they will say, heck with you?
Okay. The hope of the US establishment since the year 2005 is that they will prop up India. In fact, Condoleezza Rice, the former national security advisor who in second term of George Bush became the Secretary of State, in March of 2005, she said that our prime goal is to make India a superpower. Okay. And subsequent administrations have taken the same approach, that they want to boost up India. Why they want to do it? There's a history behind it. They boosted China against Soviet Union, and that led to dissolution of Soviet Union. Very smart thing. So now they want to use the same book. They want to use India to contain China. There's nothing wrong with it, but India is not stupid or fool. India will work with United States as far as Indian interests are concerned. But India is not going to do your bidding on demand. And that is what is not appreciated by the State Department.
Yeah, but my last question to you is this: today, election happened, and Prime Minister Modi has shown his power.
Yes.
Okay, again, he is most loved by the people of India. There
Yes.
is no second Prime Minister ever here like him, ever today. till today. And on the West, you see all the weak leadership who has a polling rating, whatever called polling percentage, way below the water level.
Yes.
So, do you think they have what it takes to bend India and threaten India to
It's a
to dance to their tune?
it's a minor irritant. India is not to be cowed down. That I can tell you. Prime Minister Modi is not going to be cowed down. Whatever is being alleged, one thing is that don't accept it at face value. Half of the information may not be even true. You don't have to trust something just because it's US intelligence or Five Eye intelligence. We know what was the veracity of intelligence that was gathered about weapons of mass destruction. How
And
the
Hamas attack on Israel.
yeah, or lack of understanding that yes, Hamas could do that. These are, I use the word nincompoops. That is exactly what they are. They may think they are superior, but in real terms, there are problems. And my analysis is that United States is not going to continue to rub India on this particular issue because they have larger interests. They cannot manage China without India's assistance in Indo-Pacific. There may be some hyperactive State Department functionaries who are going to rub it. Remember in 2014, during Barack Obama's presidency, an Indian diplomat was arrested in New York.
Mm-hmm.
She was female diplomat. She was subjected to body cavity searches. It led to a lot of tit for tat things. So periodically eruptions do happen between India and United States. And that time there was a different government in India, but that also gave a befitting reply by removing the security barriers around the United States embassy in India, so that general public could go there, and that sent the message. So this is not the first time State Department has tried to rub in needle India unnecessarily. They need to do some self introspection. When India is saying that you need to extradite these terrorists, you need to either prosecute them or extradite them to India. You cannot take the fig leaf of freedom of expression when they are threatening violence against India's diplomats, putting their personal information on the internet, doxing them, giving their address, home address, and things like that, or giving an open threat that after November 19th, people should not be traveling by Air India because something is going to happen. These are terrorists. But you may say that these are our terrorists, so we are going to protect them. And that is a bone of contention.
Yeah, my last question to you, on this regarding the India matter, as we discussed, is the U.S. administration scared of Ra becoming like a CIA? Catch, target, kill.
Okay. It is a truth that all countries have their, agencies, intelligence gathering agencies, and having for a rising power like India not to have an external intelligence agency I would say would be stupid, if not of criminal proportion, because national security of every country, there are several aspects, and intelligence gathering is another aspect of that. Unfortunately, India had a series of weak governments, and in one of those episodes, just like you said, Rishi Sunak is unelected prime minister. Similarly, there
Mhm.
was an unelected prime minister by name Inder Kumar Gujral, who dismantled research and analysis wings operations in Pakistan, and that led to resurgence of terrorism in India. So that was a mistake. Since a strong government came in India in 2014, all the security apparatuses of the state of India have been boosted, they have been strengthened, whether that is Indian Army, whether it is Indian Air Force, whether it is our, there's a new cyber defense agency, our ballistic missiles. We are increasing the range over there. So it's a hardening of strategic posture of a newly resurgent, confident India. And that also includes revamping of external intelligence gathering. All countries do that. There's nothing wrong with it. I would not say that RAW is in the category of CIA, because CIA has done a lot of criminal acts. Let's be very honest about it. A targeted assassination of world leaders. RAW has not done that. So let's not say that RAW is becoming another CIA. RAW is doing, research and analysis wing is doing what it is incumbent upon to do as its duty to the Indian state. That's it. You have to countenance that. You have to countenance that.
Absolutely.
And I would not rely 100% on American intelligence. The case that is filed in New York and Manhattan court may be trumped up, contrived intelligence. When you're taking the word of drug traffickers and arms smugglers, you can make them say anything.
Absolutely. Dr. Saab, thank you very much for coming into the show and sharing your wisdom. Very, very highly appreciated.
It's my
Okay.
pleasure, Sundarji, to come on your platform. It's always a pleasure because you throw very challenging, very stimulating questions, and I get an opportunity to, discuss.
It's so kind of you to say that. I just ask you because you are an intelligent person. I want to know what I have to know. That's what I try to do. But thank you very much for joining the show and sharing your wisdom. It means a lot. And friends, what do you think with what Dr. Adithyanjee said? And do share your input. Can America fight China or surrender? What it will do with the weak leadership it has? And what do you think? Comment and let us know. Thank you, Dr. Adithyanjee, one more time for joining us. Appreciate it. Looking forward to seeing you again. Until then, Jai Sri Ram. Jai Jai Sri Ram.